Namaskar. Welcome back to another presentation on this channel. And I would say this is probably one of the best on my channel yet, because I've had the good fortune of having my Guruji, Visti Larsen. And, I'll obviously say a few introductory words before I get him on board. So it's been a great fortune for me to have him on board. I've known him for many years personally, and he had agreed to come on this channel for a long time, but I was not sure what to really ask him about or what to really interview on with him. And then during a discussion, he only suggested one very nice idea, and I felt it was very good. And that was on the topic of remedies, which I think is very practical. A lot of people want to have a better understanding of that, and on YouTube, you find all sorts of things. Some of them are good, but many of them are disjointed. So, Visti Guruji is someone who is always very good at putting structure to things. And, he likes to say that putting it in boxes. I always remember that word, putting it in boxes. So, I really, I'm sure he will put things in the box for us. And how it helps is, whenever you learn any new information, you know where to put it back in, and that way your mind is very structured, you won't get confused. So that is going to be the broad approach. So we're not just going to be talking about remedies for X, Y, and Z. We will be doing that, but we'll try and understand a little bit holistically about remedies. And yes, there will also be practical things like case analysis and all that, so that you understand how to practically implement it in a particular chart. Okay. uh, Before going further, a little bit about my parampara and my guru. Um, we belong to the Achyuta Jyotish Parampara, and our Param Guru is Pandit Sanjayrath, who is very world renowned and famous, and he has trained thousands of students over the many years. And Vishti who is my guru, guide, and mentor, has been one of his foremost students for many years. He personally has been studying jyotish for, I guess, 25 or more years, and been practicing and teaching jyotish for more than 20 years. So he also has had many students worldwide over the years, and he has taken programs like the Parashara Jyotish course and Gemini Scholar program as part of our tradition. And I have personally learned Parashara Jyotish course under him, and now I'm also learning Gemini Sutras under his tutelage, and that of Srimati Sarbani Rath as well. And I mean, just to close it off, what I really like about my Guruji is he's dedicated, he's sincere, and he's honest. These are three hallmarks that touch your soul, and it creates a strong impact on you. There's countless people, and I being one of them, whose lives have been shaped by him. I've been made a jyotishi, I would say, to a great extent by the guidance that he has given me. So I'm always going to be very grateful to him. So without any further ado, I would like to get him on board. Guruji, please welcome, and please share us with your knowledge. You can unmute yourself. I will also bring you in.
Thank you for that, Kartik. What a
Now you're
lovely
visible.
introduction. That was brilliant. And I'm almost blushing. Thank you for that. Yes, you mentioned I've been studying for many years, and it is now 27 years ago that I started studying Vedic astrology. I mean, astrology in general. It's 27 years ago. And it's about now a good 24 years ago that I started studying Vedic astrology. 25 to 24 years ago, and I've been 23 years with Sanjay Guruji formally. And indeed, Sanjay Guruji, there is no end to the praises I can have for my Guruji and for the patience he has with my questions and my what I call due diligence and him thinking I'm nitpicking. So I have nothing more than good praises for him and wish him well and many, many years of allowing me to prune my Jyotish knowledge and perfect it so that his guidance can also reach out to many others in the future.
Very much so.
Hoping very much for that. Um, and yes, the topic for today is remedies, which is a very complicated topic. It is very complicated. I mean, there are ways to make it easy, but it can really get complicated very fast. And so that is also why there is a need for us to talk about remedies and talk about where is the flexibility in remedies and where is the rigidity in remedies and where some of the boundaries in use of remedies and what remedies really are about in the chart and what is our prime focus in it. So I thought it being a good talk, and it's also a good talk given the current gochara nowadays, that we would be focusing on a topic such as that of remedies. Um, I wonder if you want to take that a bit forward, Kartik. Do you want us to dip right into the topic, or would you like to say something before we get started?
Guruji, I mean, the first question which comes to mind is to understand what remedies mean, really speaking. How do they work? Why do we need to do it? And we know words like, I mean, if I may say, upaya, parihara, and all these people in India quite a lot. What do these things mean, and how it links to karma? How can it solve our karmic problems, etc.
The
If
word upaya is more popular in India for remedies, but it is not an appropriate term for remedies. It's not appropriate to call it upaya. Because the word upaya has an implication of going around the problem. Okay? Like finding a way around the issue, going over it, under it, avoiding it somehow, getting to your goal without necessarily dealing with the problem. Okay? And when it comes to remedies, for the most part, we are interested in solving a problem. And to solve a problem, the word parihara is used by Parashara. I don't think he uses the word upaya. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe somebody will write a comment to this video and say, no, Parashara says upaya here. But the term that is most prominently used by Parashara, and this is very evident in both the Dasha chapters, in the actual remedy chapters, which are dedicated to remedies, there the word parihara is used. The word pari means round, to go round, like to circumambulate. Parikrama, to go around something. So pari is something that is round. And hara refers to a type of an ending or a conclusion. So a conclusion of all matters, of all circulating or all matters around the topic is parihara. And so when we speak about solutions are really in the realm of, are we directly addressing all the concerns available? Are we doing a parihara? Okay? And
like a
that can
comprehensive solution.
a comprehensive solution indeed. And there is a relevance to this when we talk about even various forms of timing calculation. For example, there is a method of calculating time called the prahara. Okay? And the prahara that is occupied at any given time is the remedy also for that time. All right? So there are times when remedies are done for different things. My Guruji would explain how, depending on the time of day, you can offer a certain remedy to a graha. You can even choose the place in the chart where the graha is placed based on the 12 portions, the phalanx of the hand. Knowing each one sign, you can touch the sign in which a graha is placed, put a flower in between you and that, and then say a mantra, and you're offering directly to that graha at that given time, which is the prahara. So
Wow.
that is direct remedy, That's where you're. This is not very advanced remedy. This is direct remedy. This is how jyotish goes that next level and says, I want to see the 12 signs in my chart. Which one should I remedy at which time? Can I touch the graha directly in that sign? Do a mantra for that at that time. That is one idea behind prahara, which is taking the concept of parihara to a very distinguished level.
Wow.
Okay, so prahara and parihara are linked, and we are trying to find out what is the best remedy for a chart. Now, the remedies for a chart are largely in two groups. There are remedies because of the chart itself, means you're born. You're born, there's karma. All right? And so you're dealing with the karma directly with a remedy directly for the chart. This is the most preferred method of giving remedies. All right? Because such a remedy has lasting implications. Lasting implications. That means it doesn't matter how long you wait in life, that problem has been addressed. All right? And the remedy done can also have a lasting effect, such as you do the remedy some 20 years ago and it still is working today. It's still working. You didn't continue the mantra. You did it back then, it's still working. All right? After 20 years, it's still working. So, when we are interested in remedies, the most preferred lasting remedies are also basis the chart, because your chart is what you carry with you all the time. Then there is the second type of remedy, which is dasha based. That means what's going on right now. That dasha based remedy is relevant only for the dasha, current time. There is a lot of good reason to do a dasha based remedy, a lot of good reasons. There's also a lot of bad reasons, all right? Because just as we said earlier, it's a temporary remedy you're doing, yes? But the good reason to do a remedy is that when you do a remedy basis your dasha, you can find a solution to the dasha which will make the dasha easier. You may not find it having a lasting effect beyond the dasha, but if you're having a problem at a given time, it might be smart to solve that problem at that given time. Okay? So now the argument obviously would be, so Visti, are you telling me that the best possible remedy considers when the dasha is of the problem that is permanent in the chart? Yes. That is the one we are looking for as being the big, big remedy, where you combine both. One remedy fits both. Or you will say, obviously, Visti, we want to solve the problem before it arrives. Right?
Right.
And I say, yes, yes. So you would then be seeing what is the problem in the chart, when is the dasha of that problem arising, and then address it. Now, for other people who are listening to this, and maybe you're also thinking, Visti, but if a problem is in the chart permanently and the dasha arrives, when the dasha is over, wouldn't the problem go away? Oh, no, no. Even after the dasha ends, the problem can continue. If the problem is permanent in the chart, it's possible the problem continues even after the dasha is over of the problem. Okay? Because what does it sound like? What if somebody loses a leg, an organ, right? That organ will not grow back in the current medical science when the dasha changes. Yes? So similarly, karma in the chart can have a permanent fixture in the chart. It's possible. All right? There are combinations Parashara mentions that, oh, if the sixth house and the sixth lord and the Karaka Shani for illness are all three afflicted, then the disease is throughout life. The roga is throughout life. That's what he's trying to say. Okay? I don't just abide by those three. I actually need 6 pointers. I need those 3 pointers in Rashi, the same pointers in Navamsha. Then I say, okay, now it's permanent. Otherwise, the person listening here will say, "Oh no, Visti, what is it you have discovered in my by speaking about that on YouTube? I'm in trouble, you know." And I said, "Oh, hold on, quite a bit of homework to be sure that those 3 pointers are justified. You know, they're confirmed in the chart, and then I have to see what it is. And it's possible from Rashi to Navamsha that one of them drops, and you don't have 3 problems, you have 2 problems, and then congrats, it's temporary." And that is also the weightage that we're giving. Is it permanent? Is it temporary? How long does it last? And then we are combining dasha with that. So that is the real place where the jyotishi is doing the hard work.
Okay.
That is the real work of the jyotishi right there. They're discovering a problem. They're discovering whether it's big or not, and discovering when to do the remedy. And after that, life is good. Okay. Take this now. Let's play with this a bit. Let us say we're getting into this understanding this remedy and philosophy of remedy. Why are we doing that remedy really? So if the problem has a permanent fixture in the chart, or maybe it has a time limit, and that time limit could be over several dashas. Okay? What are we doing with the remedy? We are trying to reduce the amount of time spent dealing with the problem. That is the best parihara. Okay? Because all karma must be experienced in the mind. And that is the main point. All karma must be experienced in the mind. So, therefore, if one is not addressing the karma, then you will experience that karma over a long period in the mind, even in reality, physically also. But if you can reduce the amount of time spent on the karma through a remedy, then you can also see the karma experienced in your mind, potentially with a higher intensity, but in a shorter period of time. That's like saying bigger worry, but shorter period of time of worry. Okay? And then it, following a specific amount set time that was required for the remedy, it dissolves. Okay? It dissolves. It's done.
Like, for
You did not have
example,
to.
people do Kumbha Vivaha so that they don't get into relationship at all, which can be painful, etc. And within that, whatever, doing that remedy, that gets off, like
That
that.
emotion will come to fore. It is possible with, let's say, Kumbha Vivaha, that the person does the Kumbha or Arka Vivaha puja, the marrying puja. Now, during that puja, and within the 1 year of that puja, the person may encounter that intimate relationship that they were supposed to have that may have lasted even longer. But it may be so fleeting in experience that they themselves will doubt whether to call it a relationship. You see my point?
Hmm.
Okay? They didn't enter the relationship. They met somebody. They were debating whether it should be them. Their mind was occupied with that. They actually didn't talk beyond that. No engagement, nothing. Okay? And then that person disappears from their life. Oh, 1 year after Arka Kumbhi Vivaha, they find somebody else and marry, and life is good. So you're still dealing with the experience with that puja. It's still there.
Hmm.
Mhm. Now, so that's one example of how this works. Now, obviously, when I put it across in this way and I say, you must experience the karma in the mind, okay? It's very hard for you now to sit and say, oh, Visti, let me wear a gemstone for some problem.
Hmm.
Oh, God, now how are you going to justify that? Can you say by wearing a gemstone that you're accentuating certain karmas to be resolved quickly? Not really, right? How are you dealing with the mind in which the karmas are existing? How are you dealing with them? Because the real issue is this: the Atma. Let's say I talk very straight and say, this Atma, people say, has the great goal of going back to the Paramatma. You read this somewhere? Somebody has said it. The Atma, Jivatma, wants to go back to the Paramatma. That is its true home. Your Jivatma does not belong here. It belongs with the Paramatma. This is transitory. It's transient. We are only here temporary and we go back to the Paramatma, hopefully, the real home. All the emotions, the deep, what you can call it, a feeling of belonging, love, everything that comes around it. People who have had near-death experiences speak of that they feel more at home in the afterlife than they do in this planet. They say this. Some of them say, I don't want to go back to this planet. I want to stay in the afterlife. They want to. Because they know deep inside, their Jivatma knows that this is the right place to be with the Paramatma. They know it. So why are we saying that the Atma is reborn due to desire? What desire? But wait, the Paramatma does not want to be here. So what desire can pull it down? And at the same time, we say that the Atma is trapped here as well at the same time because of karma.
Hmm.
What is the Atma's desire then? The Atma has only one desire: to finish the karma. Because if the Atma cannot experience the karma, it knows it will not be released to go back to the Paramatma. Okay, now That can sound quite, some people say, whoa, Visti, hold on. That's heavy. All right? Because now we're talking about that the Atma does not differentiate between good or bad karma. How can you say the Atma has a desire to be here? Desire for what? Does the Atma know the difference between good or bad? The Atma, we say, does not know the difference between good or bad. The Atma is here to experience the karma, and it doesn't care if it's good or bad because they know if they experience it, you will resolve it. Only when you have experienced something can you resolve the karma. Mm-hmm.
And this is different from desire, right? This is karma, which you have to experience. Well,
My
desire
point,
is a different reason for rebirth, while karma is a different reason for getting reborn, right?
and what I'm saying is the desire is the karma.
Desire is a karma.
The desire is the karma. Okay? Some good desires, some bad desires. And bad desires are not necessarily ill will towards others. It's about experience. The Atma wants to go through an experience. Okay? Well, the only thing that's the universal truth about the desire of the Atma is it desires to go through an experience. Some part of it is good experience, some part of it is bad experience. But by going through the experience, it resolves that desire or karma, and it is able to return. Think of it more practically. The Atma has seen somebody suffer at your hand in the past life. Okay? The Atma says, I need to resolve that emotion that was experienced by that person in the next life. Okay? So don't think of it as good or bad. Think of it as the Atma wants to resolve that experience. They want to resolve that experience of that other person suffering upon themselves and that thereby resolve it. Now we're in a place which is more sensible, right? It says, I want to repent for this. I want to resolve this experience. Mm-hmm. And then it goes through that experience in the next life, and going through that experience can be painful for the mind because the mind does not understand why we're going through this experience. And then finishing that experience, the karma is resolved. Okay, so now let's be a bit more technical. Where is that karma then sitting? It sits with the Atma, right? It's not sitting with our mind. The mind is not aware. It's sitting with the Atma.
Yes.
Where is the Atma? When you're awake, you're aware, right? Then you dream, and you are dreaming, you're aware of the dream. When you're unconscious, sushupta, you're not aware of anything. Zero. So the question is the karma in the sushupta? Some people say there's a fourth level called the turiya. Is it sitting there? The Atma is supposed to be sitting with the karma. So the Atma is aware of the karma either in the Sushupta or the Turiya. Some people say when they hear this, oh, Visti Turiya, I was taught that. Okay? So now, if you know this, that the karma sits with the Atma, and this Atma is sitting with it in either the unconsciousness or some supraconscious level.
Yes.
Okay? And we ourselves are conscious in the awake state or in the dream state, partly awake, partly aware in the dream state. All right. How do we take our mind to go to that unconscious or turiya state? Because if we can take our mind to go there in that deep state, then we are also going to see the karma and resolve it.
Hmm.
That's the point of remedies now.
That's the part.
You are trying to go and meet where the Atma is, find out what karma it is sitting with, and resolve it then and there.
And this is the karana sharira, right?
Karana sharira, correct. The karana sharira is where they say this is happening. Okay? And so now you can technically say, oh, Visti, but then it's easy. We have the karana sharira which is the third level, where the Atma sits, right? We have the sukshma sharira, which is the second level, which is where the manas is sitting, and some people say there's a part conscious, part unconscious there. Mm-hmm. And then we have the bodily conscious, right? What do we call that? We call it it's stula sharira. It's not stula sharira, right? It's one word. Yes, the gross body, if you will. Okay, that is we're quoting Atma Upanishad. Mm-hmm. So these are the three levels. Now, our interest in this is that we are not fully aware of this karma. Because we're not aware, the karma is not resolved. Okay? How to become aware of this karma? You have to do something to take your mind to that deep level. Now, meditators will say, when they go to this deep level of consciousness, they go into a sudden, for a split second, they're in somewhere else. Okay? And in that 1 second, they experience an emotion. They can experience a whole vision, you know, something that that is not identified with the life they're experiencing, or maybe it is, but it's experienced as if they're having a memory return. Okay? And that memory returning is like a small poke into the unconsciousness, seeing what do you have over there? Took small drops come out. You see that, whoa, what was that? That is, oh, that was karma you just resolved. That's what you just resolved. Okay? How do you do that with the gemstone?
You cannot do that.
Mm.
That's just on the body level.
Yeah. You didn't resolve anything. Okay? So, questions now arise. Obviously, this is very attractive if you're doing mantra. Okay? Mantra is very attractive at this stage. Okay. Tantra and mantra are linked to each other. They usually do not divide themselves. So, Tantra and mantra is seemingly a very good means of dealing with this. Some people say you can use herbs, roots for dealing for remedies. But obviously, gemstones and roots and herbs are in the same category, right? And some people say, oh, but that is related to the body. Isn't that tantra? Yes, it is, but some tantra includes some type of remedy practice, like mantra practice exactly. Okay? So we're trying to differentiate between what is just you wearing something, what is you being unaware, where we say a tamasic remedy, you're not creating awareness about something. That belongs to gemstones, roots, wearing kavachas. All of that is in that category. They are very effective. They are mostly done to enhance something good or protect you from something bad, but they are not really resolving the karma. There's no resolution. So by all means, mantra seems to be the most effective. From this, some people say, oh, you can do complicated mantras. Some other group says, we will do yoga and meditation. Okay?
And things like dhyana and all that also come under this category, right? Which can go into the unconscious.
That's the yoga meditation part,
Yoga.
dhyan. Because they really, even if you're doing mantra, if you're not doing dhyan or meditation, you're not actually going into the unconscious. And now, okay. So let's take japa to this level, because everybody will say, people most popularly when they talk about mantra, we talk about mantra japa. Okay, so how to do mantra japa? What is the method of mantra japa? There are steps in mantra japa. The easiest is you're just doing the mantra. Okay, but if you understand the steps, even if you don't know how to do them all formally, you will start understanding the purpose of mantra. First and foremost, in the yogic traditions, the given mantra is of the Ishta Devata. The guru spends some time trying to figure out what is your Ishta Devata and then gives you that mantra. It can also be that if you're gone to a parampara, they give you guru mantra instead. They may not give you Ishta Devata mantra. They may give you Guru mantra. If you're lucky, you'll get Ishta Devata mantra, but Guru mantra. And some will even say, oh, this now you may also consider your Guru your Ishta Devata. Some will also go that far. Okay? But they give you permission. You are allowed, you don't have to. All right? Depends on the individual. In this, in proper mantra upasan, the steps are as follows. First, you will do viniyoga. Which is kind of stating what you are going to do with this mantra. That's partly what some people nowadays call sankalpa, but the sankalpa is actually a different step. But viniyoga, what is our direction? Where are we heading? What is our goal? Okay. Then there will be nyasa done. Nyasa is very important for mantra. Very important. It is possibly the most important gift that one will get from one's guru is nyasa. Okay? And there are several nyasas. There is a Devata specific nyasa and mantra specific nyasa. And then there are nyasas distinctly because of, which are kind of staple, which apply to almost every mantra. Mm-hmm. So Devata specific nyasas means Devata groups. Like there's Matrika nyasa for all the Devis. One Matrika nyasa. But some variations are there, like that, some with additions. Then there is a what we call Keshava nyasa for the Vaishnava mantras. Then there is it's called it is called, excuse me, the, oof,
Anganyasa and all that.
which one?
Anganyasa, Karanyasa and all.
No, I was going to mention the specific one given for the Shaivas. Right now, it evades me. Okay, there's a term given for the Shaivas, which nyasa they do. Okay, part of it is worshipping Ardhanarishwar. Now, so they have a distinct nyasa. Okay, and then Jyotishas also have some distinct nyasas. By the way, we also have so I know of about at least 4 distinct nyasas in this category which are given. And these are all nyasas which are kind of precursors to doing other mantras and doing sadhana. And these are excellent because they are trying to use the grace of the Guru to lift the mantra to a higher level of practice. But then, excuse me, if we ignore that, that depends on your initiations. Like Vaishnavas are saying, yes, we know Keshava Nyasa. Of course we do. And they do that. They even do it before even taking the tilak or the chanda. Now,
Just for those who may not know what Nyasa is, it is about putting various syllables or phonemes from the mantra into various parts of your body,
yeah.
thereby energizing your body in a way. So it's that's where Guruji was saying that it's combining tantra and mantra both, because you're trying
So
to.
So I remember reading this cartoon, and in that cartoon, it was saying it was a Hindu cartoon where they said that now the person was offering body parts to the devata, and so they were depicting the devata taking a saw or axe and chopping off limbs and offering to the devata. But actually, what they were doing was they were touching their body and doing mantras. Okay, and that is nyasa. All right. And so we are and even they will say in the text, even in those cartoons, oh, the person was not successful until they started offering the limbs to the devata. In other words, they started offering nyasa. Nyasa is what gives success in mantra. Okay? To what extent can you put the devata or the mantra into your body? Then success comes. So that is the second step. You should learn nyasa. You should study nyasa. If you're deep into mantra, you should study nyasa. If you're doing maha mantra and you want to have success in maha mantra, ask your guru what is the nyasa. Okay? If they say just do Keshava Nyasa, you're fine. Okay, do it. That'll do it. And then if you're not doing Keshava Nyasa, you're wasting your time. Okay? So these things are taught in the traditions to learn nyasa. Now, listen up. Somebody can achieve all of this without nyasa also. Maybe a bit of effort is required, but we're dealing with mantra here. There are technicalities. After nyasa is performed, the tantras say do mudra. Why are they saying do mudra? Because you have to do a mudra to tell where you are going to now place the devata. For Ishta Devata, you place the Devata on your heart. So you will do Kurma Mudra in front of your heart. Okay, it looks like this. I don't know how many people can see it. All right. And so you're doing Kurma Mudra, you put it in front of your heart. You have seen me in class do it. Sometimes I'm doing mantra, then I start doing this. All right, whilst doing the mantra. So this is just before I recite the meditation on the mantra. That means what is the image of the Devata I'm going to meditate on or worship? Okay, we're doing japa. I thought you said we're not doing meditation, Visti. No. When you do japa, you have to know the form of the image of that you're worshiping. If I'm going to worship Krishna, I will put the Kurma Mudra in front of my heart, and then I will recite the dhyan for Krishna. How does Krishna look? And what I'm essentially doing is I'm installing the Devata in my heart. Now, if you don't know this practice, you say, Visti, that mudra looks weird. You touch your heart and imagine the Devata. And then good worshippers, they will do puja now to the heart. There's Atma Puja they'll do, Manasik Puja. They'll touch their fingers in a certain way and make offerings to the heart. And then they will take the mala and put in front of the heart, here, right here. And one by one, each bead is offered to the Devata. Every bead is offered, one. And then that mantra, say the mantra, say the mantra, say the mantra, say the mantra, offered. And then some people differentiate, are you pushing or pulling the beads? That's depending on the mantra. But they're doing it here in front of the heart. So somebody is doing mantra and they're walking and their hand is hanging like this and they're walking, they're seeing this and seeing that in trees and looking and saying hello to some people. Where's the offering to the Devata in the heart for the mantra? And see now what's going to happen to that person doing mantra now. They're sitting, they're focused on their heart, they're thinking about the image they just worshipped in the heart. They're offering every single bead to the Devata in the heart and doing the japa as they're thinking of the heart and what is the image inside the heart. Their mind is going to go into meditation. Okay? Their mind will go into meditation. It will happen.
So
some people say, I'm doing
actually.
japa, nothing is happening. Yeah. Did you know how to do the japa? Okay. And then when the mind starts going into meditation, they will start going deeper and deeper into the more subconscious levels. The first requirement for meditation, according to the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali Yoga Sutras, is you must enter a state of ekagra, which is kind of a single-pointed focus. All right? Ekagra. Or some people call it concentration, ekagra. When this usually succeeds pranayama, so you've controlled your breath. So what people will normally do is they'll do the nyasa, then they will do all the pujas, everything to the heart, everything they have done. Just before doing the japa, they'll do a little bit of pranayama, and then they do japa. Okay? The pranayama might even include the mantra as part of the pranayama, so that the mind can, kind of focus on what they're about to do. And now there's a whole technique to doing the pranayama in such a way that your mind becomes so focused on the Devata. Do you know which symptoms to expect? Do you know what ekagraha feels like? Do you know what experience you go through? For example, when ekagraha starts, you're only able to focus on what you're doing right now. Is your pranayama able to do that? Are you doing pranayama and this thought is coming, that thought is coming, that thought is coming? If you do that and after pranayama you're kind of not centered, you haven't really done pranayama. And there's so many types of pranayama, and one may suit you better, but when you do it right, you're only able to think about what's happening right here, right now, right in front of you, right here, right now. Your mind cannot go anywhere else. It's not possible. You even notice your mind saying, we're only doing this right now. That is really good pranayama. Then you have found the right pranayama. Great. Okay? You're very, very singular focused. Then, whilst doing the japa, or somebody will be doing meditation, because the ekagra, the single focus, is on yourself, you're focusing on yourself, it will lead to a state called nirodha. Okay? And that nirodha is where you start detaching from everything else around you. Okay? That people don't know these. If people are talking about pratyahara and dharana and all of those ashta yoga parts, but these small subtle things are happening in the mind, which is part of the mind psychology, where as it goes through these experiences inside the mind, you can actually, if you know about them, if you've heard about them, if you've seen them written somewhere in the sutras and you wondered what they are, you're actually going through the states of the inner realm of meditation. And the manifestations of these are different things. They are pratyahara, they are dharana, they are dhyan, they are samadhi. These are experiences of the mind going through these states. And so, and there are like several levels of pratyahara for that matter, but never mind that. Somebody doing japa will go through these states of at least that ekagraha first, then nirodha. Nirodha leads to more nirodha. Nirodha leads to another nirodha. Then nirodha leads to samadhi, and samadhi leads to deeper samadhi, and there are like 5 levels of samadhi. So these are all starting from the mind entering ekagra. If it doesn't go through that, it doesn't go anywhere into meditation.
And that helps you to reach to the unconscious and to the
Yes.
karana sharira.
Yes.
And
Even
hence,
if it's just for a second. Mhm. So that is where,
it's like
what are
even a
we aiming
second
at?
over there would matter many, many hours outside, right? I mean, that time scale difference kind of thing.
That now we're getting into something I don't know. Okay? All right? Now we're getting into something I am not learned about. I have not studied. I do not know what the time scales are there. Okay? I'm not in understanding of that. But I'm in understanding of why. Okay? Where are we heading with these remedies? What is the purpose of the remedy? Mhm. And that is, and now being able to know this, some people will say, Visti, I might as well just learn yoga and meditation. But not many people are very capable in that. Okay? Some people will say, can I somehow hone my yoga and meditation in a direction? That's what mantra helps you do. Okay? In the sense of sadhana, there are three types of upasana, three types of practice. And they are for the three types of signs. There are the movable signs, the fixed signs, and the dual signs. Mhm. Some people need movable. Movable is chara, moving all the time. That is called japa. Okay? Then there are the fixed signs. The fixed signs need to be completely still, not moving. No movement at all. That is essentially a type of dhyan. Okay? To some extent, mantra even becomes extremely small there. And then there is the third type, dvisvabhava, both types, dual. They're both moving and not moving at the same time. Okay? In our tradition, we call that samadhi yoga. And you'll say, but I thought samadhi was an experience, Visti. There is something called samadhi yoga. Yes, it's a practice where you're using what is a form of open eye meditation to begin with. Okay? And that open eye meditation leads to deeper meditation. Mhm. Some people might call it Raj Yoga. I don't know how to divide these. All right? It would be easier for me to say mantra yoga or japa is in the context of chara, moving. Okay? Then there is stira, fixed, which might be easier to say that it could be something called laya yoga. All right? This is essentially what people in TM, Transcendental Meditation, do. What people in the Art of Living do when they have the Sahaj Yoga. All right. I think even in the what is it called, the Isha Foundation, right? They also practice this Stira method, which is a form of Laya. Okay. Um, some people will do Hatha Yoga to get into this state. That is Stira. But there's a big focus on the Stira. All right. Now, how to know which suits you? This experience is based on what is your predisposition in matters of consciousness to reach what? What are we trying to reach? Shastiyamsha. We're trying to go to the Shastiyamsha. Your ninth lord of Rashi, that ninth lord of Rashi must be seen in the Shastiyamsha. If it's in a movable sign, chara, mantra japa. If it's in a fixed sign, stira. You need something like a, Sahaj Yoga meditation, TM, something like that. If it is in Dvishvabhava, now you need to learn Samadhi Yoga. Okay? In our tradition, we make it easy. We just divide it into three. Either you are doing mantra yoga, or you're doing dhyan yoga for the stira, or you're doing samadhi yoga for the dvishvabhava. Mantra japa, dhyan yoga, samadhi yoga. Mantra yoga, dhyan yoga, samadhi yoga. Movable, fixed, dual. Like that. And so, let's say, for me, let's say it is dhyan yoga. Assume. Okay? Then what that implies is that I have to spend more time trying to understand bija meditation. And Sahaj Yoga is bija meditation. Mhm. I have to spend a lot of energy on trying to understand how to reach that ekagra through that. I might use tools like pranayam for that. Or I might use asana for that. To get still, I have to be still, stira. If the mantra is long, there's a risk my mind will run. Okay? So if it's short, it might stay. Like that, one has to think. Okay? So that is now this is getting into really personal upasana at this stage. So can you go into samadhi on any mantra? Can you go into samadhi on any devatas? That's where things get a little bit, iffy. Can you do it easily? Where we say, well, you really want to do this with your Ishta Devata. You really want to spend energy on this vis-a-vis the Ishta Devata in the chart. Yes. So like that.
So basically, with your Ishta Devata, you would want to use this specific type of
Yeah.
yoga, whether japa yoga or
Yeah.
dhyana yoga or samadhi yoga.
And this naturally will fuel all the other things you do. Everything else you do will be fueled by this practice. Okay? That's the idea.
And this is like one of the permanent remedies for the charting. If for any chart, anyone would have an Ishta Devata and
Yeah.
hence they can.
Yeah. Yeah. Whichever is their most focused sadhana. Some people say, do I need to know the Devata? I am doing TM. Do I need to know the Devata? No, no. Now they're doing TM. You let them continue TM. Okay? Somebody says, I'm deep into Gayatri. Do I need to know an Ishta Devata? You just keep doing Gayatri. All right? That is mantra yoga they're doing, Gayatri. All right. Somebody else is doing Dhyan yoga, TM. Keep going. All right. Somebody doing kriya yoga. No, no. Keep going. Keep focusing. All right. Don't, they are already, for them, Devata is at a very deep level, possibly. All right. Somebody who's doing kriya yoga, they say, oh, I saw the kutashta, there's a ring, I'm seeing it. Okay. Now I heard sounds. They're moving. They're actually moving to the Ishta Devata. They're moving there. You could actually distract them by saying, now do japa for Hanuman. There's a risk there. Mhm. Now, somebody will say, and what if the religion is not even Hindu?
Mm.
Yes. The idea of remedies are that they have to be adapted to the religion.
Mm.
Jyotish can be independent of religion in the analysis, but has to be incorporating religion when we give the remedy. So that requires some study. Can you, in Christianity, are there different ways of doing prayers? In Islam, are there different names of Allah? Okay. In a religion like Judaism, do they have various other practices you can incorporate? Yes, they are. And then you have different variations of Christianity also. Then there's Catholicism, then there's Orthodox, all right? Protestantism is also there. How do you adapt the practice therein? Orthodox are the easiest. They have the highest pamphlet and they have all these saints they also worship. Okay? Catholicism can be a bit tricky because some of them are very staunch, focused on only the Holy Father prayer. They don't do anything else. All right? And maybe the Mother's Prayer, Ave Maria, and then you don't have much leeway beyond that, potentially, depending on the version of Catholicism that is there. They have many subgroups. So that is something that has to be adapted, and you can still include the practices herein. You can ask, like the Buddhists say, take an image of your Ishta Devata. Who is it? Is it Jesus? You get an idol of Jesus. You put it in front of you, and you do the dhyan on that image. Okay? They will do it, the Buddhists. So that is the approach that we have to, and the philosophy behind remedies. We are having various ways that suit us to approach this deeper aspect of ourselves where all the karma is hidden, to unravel it. The Atma only wants to give us a small dose at a time when our mind is ready for it. As the mind becomes more resilient, it adds more and more and more and more. Because if you're resilient, you can take more.
And you can resolve more
Yes.
karmas that way.
You can resolve more karma faster because the Atma says, we have a shortcut. We can deal with all of it in this life. Let's do
The
it.
entire Sanchita
Just
can.
unravel. All right. And everybody around you is looking at you and thinking you are nuts because you're dealing with so much burden.
That's why the spiritual people go through a lot of tough
Yes.
times in their life because they are burning that much more karma in their lives.
Yes. But they are only able to do it because they are that much more resilient.
Hmm.
And that leads us to the idea of application.
So, Guruji, we will pause now and we'll restart with that particular topic. And I must say, this is very fantastic. This one I may have missed that maybe because of lack of attention. For Samadhi Yoga, did you mention any specific type of traditions which are there, which follow that kind of path, Samadhi Yoga?
Aha, Samadhi Yoga is essentially the path which follows Trataka.
Trataka, okay.
Trataka. And for example, there is a in South India there's a whole addition to a text of the Natha tradition called the Yoga Amanashka. Okay, and it's that edition is called Tara Yoga. All right, Tara Yoga, which is Tara Yoga means you're doing yoga on a star. And the idea, this is the basis for the Kriya Yoga tradition, where they do a lot of focus on the Kutashta, which is here. It's a very interesting path because the path is technically it's not so complicated as I put it across, but it's in the Upanishads, and there's a whole school of going about this. But in our tradition we have it, and the method is very simple. You are first using candle flame to improve your concentration. Okay, to improve your focus, your one single pointed focus. So using an external means to do it. You're not taking yourself to that stage through pranayama. You are using an external means like a candle flame. Then when you have practiced with that candle flame, you do a specific practice. You look at the root of the flame, and you look at the root of the flame, and it's at an arm's length from you. You look at the root, and then you say the sound ram, and take your gaze up to the tip of the flame. And I'm going very far, but the tip is, it'll be a very small flame, right? So just this distance, arm's length, you say Ram, go to the top, inhale, Ram, inhale, Ram, inhale, Ram. And you keep doing it without blinking. I was taught to do it till your eyes tear. Okay? Then when your eyes tear, because you're not going to blink, your eyes will not tear. Then when you in that experience, you will notice even though the flame is far away, your eyes are hot from looking at the flame. So you have a physical experience. Okay? And then you close your eyes, and obviously by staring at that flame for so long, you're not going to see the flame in your mind. And now you meditate on the flame in your mind, saying the same bija and meditating on it. You only do this once a week on your vara of birth. So if you're born on Friday, you will start this practice, and you'll only repeat this practice on Fridays. And the rest of the week, you won't stare at the flame. Even if you light it, you will close your eyes and say Ram, and the mind, like a switch, the image will come in your mind. And you'll meditate on that flame for the duration, like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I don't know how long you'll spend. When you get so used to this, and you can say, okay, I have understood this. I know how to do this. I have done this 4 weeks in a row or 5 weeks in a row. And every week I start my meditation. I want to light the lamp first. I say Ram, and it enters my mind. I know it works, Visti. I've done it now, you'll say. Then, now you replace the practice of the flame with the image of the Devata. Your Ishta. Maybe you'll say Thakur Ramakrishna. You'll keep Thakur Ramakrishna's image in front of you, and you will say a bija again. Maybe there's a bija in your mantra. Like often there will be Hring bija or Kling bija or Shrim, maybe Shrim if you're lucky. You might, depending on what you get. And then you will say that bija, let's say it's Kleem, and you'll say Kleem, and from the root of the image to the top, you're saying that. Inhale, Kling, inhale, Kling, go down, Kling, go to the root, Kling, go to the root, cling, until you have a physical level experience like you had with the flame. Okay? Then close your eyes, you say that bija, the Rama Thakur is in your mind now. You do that once a week on your weekday. And you do that for the rest of your life. And no matter where you will go in the planet, you will say that bija and he's in your mind. All right, and then that's it. You meditate on that image. That is Samadhi Yoga.
So wonderful to know
So,
this.
a Vaishnava will do this on the image of Krishna. Many like to do it on Bal Gopal. Many like to do it on the image of Jagannath. Okay? Even Vaishnavas have to figure out, is it a baby? Is it an adult? Is he without body? What is the image of Krishna? You have to figure that out. And so they will now practice that on that. If they have the yoga for this, what we call Samadhi Yoga. These are the 3 paths. Okay?
And Guruji, just one important thing is what we've been discussing, the entire point which I've been discussing for last 45 minutes or an hour. Uh, the thing is, in India, a lot of people, because we have so many gods, so many devatas, we tend to praise to so many gods at one time and all that. But the approach what you're talking about is for a particular chart. Got to figure out that one thing, one object which you're going to follow and deep dive down deep into your unconscious using that one thing, right? So that is one essential point if I were to take away, because a lot of people are there in India who will be doing a lot of devatas at the same time. So
So technically, the method is that you will worship your Ishta Devata last. Okay? And this practice is in the is given in a way in which, depending on who is your Ishta Devata focus, there's a whole scheme of adopting that for the last one to be the Ishta you choose. Okay, and I don't know those schemes by hand. I know for mine because of Shiva. Shiva's my Ishta. He's last. Okay. So then the practice is just technically I will worship Ganesha first, then I will worship Guru. Ganesha wakes up the gurus. Then I will worship Surya and all the Navagrahas. Then we come to that means Gayatri also. Surya means also Gayatri, and then I come to the Vaishnavas, Vishnu mantras. Then I do Shakta, Shiva in the end. Okay, and so I am preparing my meditation for the last. So I will do japa of all the ones before and do my meditation on Shiva last, let's say. Okay? So you could be having a scheme where you're doing japa for the others or puja for the other devatas, but your Ishta is last. Even if you talk to Vaishnavas who have gotten Gayatri, they have a whole scheme of how they do Gayatri and then they do other forms of mantras, very deep, they have a whole process of different mantras. And the last thing they do is Krishna mantra, Mahamantra. Okay? So the Ishta is last, even though there are different guru mantras they do, and some people have even Pancharatri that they worship, Shakti that is, you know, and then they end with their Ishta Krishna because you end with the heart. You end with the Ishta.
thanks, Guruji. That was an important clarification.
And so this scheme applies to japa, it applies to if you're doing samadhi yoga, this applies to if you're doing dhyan yoga. The last thing you do is worship your Ishta, and it's the last thing you do is the meditation or japa or whatnot on that Ishta. Okay? Yes. So that is the scheme. And so several mantras are now pieced together basis that to get to that particular point. What is the name for this method that they will do? It's called Pancha, not Pancha Devata Sadhana. It is called the, um,
You're
it
talking about
has
the
a,
Smartha tradition.
Smartha has the tradition, but they have a scheme for it, which is given by the Shankara. And it's, I forget the name now. It's
Yeah,
Pancha.
Panchadevata Upasana, you have those four.
No, that just means Panchadevatupassana, but they have a specific name for the schemes that are used for
Yeah,
Panchadevatupassana,
yeah,
like
yeah,
what is done first, second, third, fourth,
yeah.
fifth. Mhm.
And what is there in the center?
Yeah, and the center is the last one.
Last one, yeah.
Yeah, the center is the last one. Yeah. So those who know, they will know about this. But the idea is that you are using the last one as the means to fuel everything else you're doing.
So
Okay.
we'll pause it over here, Guruji, and then we'll continue with the more practical, from the Hori top level, we'll be coming down to the ground and
Yeah.
we'll continue over there.
Yeah.
So I'll pause it now.